Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Ajuna Sharawat, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we achieve with these sessions that are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry heavyweight in our today's session of FaceTime with Leaders, Gajendra Hindurao. As an industry veteran, Gajendra has about 4 decades of experience in the banking sector and proficiency in counteracting money laundering and operations risk and maintaining compliance in banks' operations. He has diverse experience in management, banking regulations, compliance matters, capital markets, commodity concentration, and a lot more. As the latest work profile, he was the head of Internal Audit India, MUFG Bank. Gajendra was instrumental in setting up internal audit function in a few MNC banks in India. Welcome, Gajendra, to FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Our pleasure as well. Gajendra, can you state your journey of becoming a director in 2013, starting out as a bank manager in 1983?
Yeah, pretty exciting journey. When I look back, it's almost 4 decades. I started in 1983 with a public sector bank. And now I've just the last assignment with the MNC bank. So I started in 1983 with the public sector bank, then moved on to private sector banks like ICICI Bank, then moved on to MNC Bank, prominent MNC banks in India like MUFG Bank, Rabobank International. So it's across the spectrum, 4 years experience, and it's across the roles. The roles, it was a pretty exciting journey, handling wholesale banking, treasury business, compliance, head of internal audit, very exciting challenges in banking industry. And as you know, when I look back, I think banking industry has evolved over a period of four decades. It's a drastic change. So never short of excitement, pretty good journey across the banks, across the type of banks, across roles. So when I look back, I think it's still learning a lot about banking, the way it is evolving now.
Now, since you've handled various roles across different facets of banking industry, namely wholesale banking, treasury business, trade finance operations, and so on, we would like to know what are the common learnings you have taken from them?
Oh, great. This is a very good question. Learnings are not many. Frankly speaking, the learning never stops in this industry. The pace of change which is there, I think the one biggest lesson that I've learned across banks is you need to update your skills, because banking has evolved over a period, right from manual functioning to AIs and bots and all that. So you need to constantly update yourself. That's one learning which I think I constantly remind myself. So that is one learning. And second is, it's very exciting. People might say banking is boring, but it's a very exciting. And if you have passion for this banking business, I think there is a lot that you can do. There is no limit. This is another learning. And I think you need to have passion for your job. That will take you through 4 decades, 5 decades of banking. That's another learning from the last 4 years. And constant learning. You need to update your skills every time there is a change in banking. That's another learning which I think take away for me.
Talking about learnings, we would like to know how much technology dependent is the field of finance? And if you could let us know what changes with technological advancements you have seen during your career. And of course, what changes do you foresee with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, and so on?
Wow, that's another great question. Looking back over a period of 4 decades, I started my banking when it was a manual banking. But now, presently, I think it's everything digitization, use of AI. So technology has been a huge disruptor in banking sector. It has some positive impact, huge positive impact on customer service, profitability, speed of transaction. I can recollect the days when manual banking was being done in India in 1983. Since then, we have moved a lot in terms of use of AI, machine learning, bots presently. And of course, this pandemic has really emphasized the need for technology. And I think I have been updating my skills to get up to the speed regarding implementation of technology in banking. I think banking is one area where I think technology has been really huge impact. It has improved the customer service. It has reduced the cost of the transaction drastically, and the speed of transaction has really improved because of use of technology. And I'm not sure where this technology is going to take us. I definitely see this is not the end of technology in banking. There will be different aspects of technology which will kick in as we go along.
We would also like to know which of the job roles you have enjoyed the most.
As I said, every role was exciting at that point of time, but looking back at last 10, 15 years, I have been heading internal audit function of the banks, and this is one role which excited me a lot. Being a head of internal audit, I think you can really add value to the management. You can convey the weaknesses of the organizations to the top management, based on which they can take the corrective actions. So frankly speaking, the role of head of internal audit has really excited me the last 15 years, which I've been performing, which is more of advisory to the senior management regarding their weaknesses, control gaps in the organization, the processes which they, and you need to be well ahead of the curve. So, and the gaps in non-compliance with RBI regulatory compliances. So this is one role which I think I've enjoyed the most. Of course, other roles were equally important, but a role of a head of internal audit in a multinational banks and with various evolving regulations, I think it's really exciting.
Wonderful. And did you get ever the opportunity to include better ESG integration into the business?
Yeah, ESG is one new narrative which has come in banking industry. In fact, my bank, the last bank, was a leader in ESG. Earlier, I still remember the risk and return were the two main focus for any investment decision or lending decision in banking industry. But last few years, at the turn of this decade, I think ESG has become very critical narrative in banking industry. And my bank was a leader in ESG. So every bank, before lending or investing, would like to know what is the implications of its decisions of lending or depositing. And I've been associated with few ESG audits in banking industry. Again, if you have to audit banks from ESG perspective, this is a new area. I think skill sets are still evolving. So I think I can add a huge value as far as ESG is concerned. New concept, new narrative, but there is a lot that can be added in terms of advisory to the management and of course to the investors and lenders.
Sure enough. And continuing with this, since you are an ESG certified corporate governance expert now, what values do you offer the corporate world?
As I said, this is a new narrative and the concept is evolving. People are trying to understand the implications of ESG. people are trying to understand the nitty-gritty of ESG. What are the compliance? What are the rules that are being evolved? Regulator also trying to frame new rules from ESG perspective. So having worked in a bank which focused on ESG for last few years, I think I can add value by suggesting or advising what are the areas where ESG can be implemented better way, what are the rules as far as ESG is concerned in banking industry. And of course, when the investors try to invest their money or lenders try to give their money to the corporates who are ESG compliant, and we can always do the advisory role from ESG perspective, having hands-on experience in handling ESG project in my bank.
Do you have can you just let us know any particular case where you have actually done this in your bank?
Yeah, I think as I said, I was working in a top 5 bank in the world, and globally this is a new concept. So we have lent to a few projects which I won't like to name them, but you must have read the few banks in US have just collapsed, and there are certain aspects of ESG were also overlooked. So having worked with these globally, I think there is a lot which I can do in ESG.
Now, lastly, this would be a feedback question. As you are aware, we are building a community of FaceTime with leaders. It is aimed at cross-pollination of knowledge, something that will lead to a robust corporate governance in India and build a community of non-executive directors for its robust framework. We would like to know what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I think you are doing an excellent job. This was required. This was very relevant. This is one aspect of which was missing in banking industry or in corporate world in India, I suppose. So there is, because of changing rules, there's a huge shortage of directors or independent directors in corporate world. And the job that this institution is doing is really phenomenal. I think this was timely, very relevant, and which will definitely add value to the corporate governance in India. The way you are training people to be director, independent director, I think you must be one of the unique organization which is adding value. And this is required, timely value addition to the corporate world in India.
Thank you for your motivating feedback. And that was a very valuable conversation with you. I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Gajendra, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, and wish you the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.